Me and Rory just looked at each other. I asked him the question, is Rodri back? Because that almost seems to be the case. Can someone give me a thumbs up? Is Rodri back tomorrow? We're not sure. We're going to double check now. Man City versus Brighton, because it all changes, doesn't it? I mean, if Rodri's playing, then Man City win, and it's not a question.
It's got to the stage now, though, for Manchester City. You can't believe that we're talking about it like this, where they now need to win. The pressure is on them. They cannot drop any more points. They have
Rodri's back, they win.
They've lost to Wolverhampton Wanderers. They've been beaten by Arsenal, which is symbolic in itself. They now can't lose to Brighton. Brighton are very beatable for them.
Yeah.
You know, Brighton have proven this year that they concede a lot of goals. I don't think they've had a clean sheet all season. So this should be the dream fixture for Manchester City. But if they don't win this game, I think that's a real problem for them and who they want to be this season.
I mean, you're talking back-to-back-to-back losses.
Well, we'll have to start talking about Guardiola, won't we?
Haaland needs to score. I mean, I know you've been one to dig him out, although he's got 8 and 8. You start to point the finger and say, look who he scored against.
But I think we should do that. I don't understand. Look, I know that he's a sensational.
He's got 8 and 8.
8 and 8, but it's all a little bit misleading, isn't it? Because he didn't score against Arsenal, which is what they needed.
We never do this against... Why do we do this to him now? We've never done this for anyone. Because when at the end of the season, if someone scores 35, we don't say, well, 1 second, let's dissect it a little bit and let's look who he scored against. He scored 35.
I think that it's right to explore exactly who he scored the goals against. When Manchester City signed Haaland, they signed him to score goals, of course, but they also signed him to take them to unknown pleasures. He's been part of that. They won the treble. He's been part of that. But the only point I will make with Haaland is Champions League final, no goals, no assists. FA Cup final, no goals, no assists. FA Cup semi-final, no goals, no assists. Did they win
those games?
Yes, they did. But at some point, Rodri isn't going to pull it out of the bag for them. And he is going to have to score in those big games. Because it's all very well scoring a hat-trick against Burnley, but that's not really the point of Erling Haaland. Very
quickly on Erling Haaland, obviously, look, it seems as though Messi's going to win another Ballon d'Or, which I think's wrong. Again, Haaland, as you just mentioned there, 50-plus goals last season. They won a treble. Messi didn't even make it into Ligue 1's team of the season. I know he had that World Cup. I get it, right? But even you were there. I mean, they're not playing.
I was at the game. I went to 2 Argentina games and I watched Lionel Messi destroy Australia. And you go, okay, great. I watched him miss a penalty against Poland. You go, okay, great. But that isn't what a Ballon d'Or is about.
Yeah.
It isn't about.
Haaland can't have that season and score that many goals and his team win everything.
It's totally unjust for the Ballon d'Or to not land at Manchester City. It isn't. Look, you could maybe,
regardless of it's Rodri, Haaland,
it has to be. The club won a treble. It's ridiculous. It's ludicrous.
Yeah.
It's ludicrous. I remember when Manchester United won the treble, and David Beckham finished second. Of course, David Beckham deserved the Ballon d'Or that year. Like Rivaldo won it, but Manchester United and David Beckham eliminated Rivaldo and Barcelona from the European Cup. David Beckham was robbed of that Ballon d'Or, undoubtedly. And I believe that Erling Haaland, or maybe Rodri, have been robbed of a Ballon d'Or this year if it goes to Lionel Messi.
They've done that a few times with Messi. Look, this isn't no dig at Messi because we are talking about arguably the greatest player we've ever seen, but I remember...
But not this year. He's not the greatest player we've seen this year.
The year that Virgil van Dijk came second, or third, I can't remember what it was, I thought he should have won it.
Yeah.
But
do you know what it is with Messi, though? Particularly this one.
Go on.
I think it's a little bit like when DiCaprio won the Oscar. It's his last one, isn't it? And maybe they're giving him one sort of cumulatively.
What, because he's not won one before?
No, but they're giving it to him.
Isn't this his 7th?
It's his final...
Is it 7th or 8th? What's he got now?
It will be his last hurrah in this conversation. He will not win another Ballon d'Or.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.